sometimes how life works. I had a student who was new in class, and just for whatever reason I was talking, and I said the most common way to injure the discs of the low back is when you combine flexion with rotation. So that's a forward bend with rotation, which we do a lot in yoga. So I always keep my spine long, just because it's not that doing that is bad for you unless you have dysfunction already, and then it's not good. But if you're doing that in daily life, and a nurse is a profession that comes to mind, where the concern is more about not dropping the client than maybe taking care of your own back. And I do it all the time too, where I'll be helping someone with something, and somehow I think, oh, well, if I'm helping someone, it won't hurt my back, right? Karma will be kind, and what's a load of crap? You have to be conscious all the time to not hurt your back. And Leslie was talking about how she's learned she loves gardening. Well, it might be better for her back if she just didn't garden anymore, but that would not be good for her spirit because she loves gardening. So figuring out, rather than constantly doing stuff here, do here, do here, do here, varying it up so that you're not stuck in this position for 6 weeks. And flexion with rotation, especially if you're adding weight, meaning you're picking up a heavy box. So I'm just going to demonstrate how to bend and lift safely, and how to bend and lift something that might be not as heavy. So generally speaking, and we come equipped with something that I call our inner corset or our internal girdle. Our core is not just here. Our core is all the way around here. And it got to the point where I could feel it engage. Now I have the rolly recycling bins, but I used to have the little, those paper ones get heavy. And so you take your feet wide, pull the belly in, come down. This is what's doing the work. If I need to come further down, I'm going to pull my belly in, come over, pick it up, engage the abs, and come up like that. The other, and this is I have to tell, I learned this from Roland, this is a Feldenkrais thing. Say that I've dropped my pen. I had this fear that the ink was going to go everywhere. Rather than just, if you think about just hinging here, I already feel a little bit of pain. But if I bring the weight more onto the back leg and come down, first of all, you feel kind of pretty because it's more of like a plie. But this is doing the work, not my back. And we do have large muscles in our back, but we have a lot of small muscles in our back too. And if we're not employing the muscles in the correct way, sometimes other muscles have to take over, say a smaller muscle has to take over for what a bigger muscle should be doing. And where yoga or stretching or whatever comes in, okay, this is I wanted to be an actress, so you guys have to put up with this. So there's a little muscle called the piriformis. Carrie, do you mind getting, in that green bag, you'll see a hip bone. I was supposed to, yeah, that's it, thanks. Yeah, that one's good, thanks. So there's a little muscle right here. It's in your bum. It's the piriformis. There's other little ones too. The piriformis gets a bad rap. Sometimes it's obturator internus that's also causing the problems. If that gets tight, so the sciatic nerve runs adjacent to that. And again, nerves are very resilient, but they don't like compression. Anyone ever had a pinched nerve or nerve compression? It's all kinds of fun, isn't it? This little tiny bit can send you to the moon. Some people, this sciatic nerve goes through the muscle. So that's even more to where any tension there can start to cause pain. It might be isolated pain that feels like a burning knife in your hiney, because that's fun. Or it might radiate down your leg, all the way down to the toes, anywhere and everywhere in between. When that gets tight, it's an external rotator. So that gets tight. Who's seen this? This kind of butt tuck. And then we have the psoas. The psoas is the biggest hip flexor. It originates at the diaphragm, attaches to the side of the vertebral bodies and the intervertebral discs. I learned that one the hard way. I wish I didn't know that. And comes down, connects with another, and it does this. It just helps with that hip flexing. When it gets tight, and then the hamstrings in the back of the legs tuck this under. So you've got this going on. And I dare you to go to a mall and see if you see that, or the beach, or wherever. And the thing is, muscles learn. That's good news and it's bad news. So if these get locked short, they've learned to stay here. And that kind of misalignment is going to affect everything. The good news is we can retrain them to lock long or to stretch and be more open. Some of you I know. So I know we're dealing with scoliosis. We're dealing with herniated discs. We're dealing with, and you and I mean, I love that we're sisters, but I wish it wasn't, sisters in this avenue. Usually a disc will bulge to one side or the other. The spinal cord is underneath these spinous processes, deep in here. And so there's a big ligament on the front and the back of the entire spine to hold everything in place. It's not easy to bulge through that ligament. It's possible. Generally speaking, like this little guy here, that red thing, that's a blown disc, a herniated disc. He's in a lot of pain, just so you know. But notice how it's off to the side. That's the path of least resistance for the disc to bulge. The reason we are a little bit more uncomfortable is ours bulge straight back. And straight back, there's a little thing in there called the spinal cord. Ow, when you get compression on there. So if nerves don't like compression, the spinal cord certainly doesn't like compression. And around the brain and the spinal cord, some people would argue that the brain is from here in the cranium all the way down to here. The spinal cord is solid until it gets to the bottom part, and then they call it the quada equina. I just like to say equina. It means horsetail because it all starts to horsetail out. Still hurts, just so you know. Less risk for there to be, I'm not even going to say that. I would say there's less risk for paralysis, but not necessarily. And sometimes there's paralysis of certain organs, like the bladder or the colon, So if, I'm just going to say this, if you ever have back pain and you're losing your bowels, do not walk, move very cautiously at a quick speed to get to the doctor, because that signifies a pretty severe problem. Just knocking on papers would, right?